Well, here we are. Okay. Hi. Hello. Welcome back. It's been a while. I know that it's been a while. It's been like, what, 2 months? And a lot has happened in the last 2 months. But I figured I might as well just start out with the basics and get you caught up kind of on what's going on in life. Long story short, I'm not going to do long story short. Well, yeah, long story short. Long story short is we cannot return to Ireland. The longer story is, and I kind of mentioned this in the previous video if you watched that, but we had, initially when we went to Ireland, we applied for a certain type of visa, the Minister of Religion visa. And they didn't give us that visa, but didn't tell us that they didn't give us that visa. They gave us a different one under the same visa stamp. And so when we went to renew and everything like that, they said, hey, you're on the volunteer worker visa, and therefore you have only 3 years, and therefore you have to leave the country. That's been our whole last year. I mean, it's been literally a year this month. So we appealed that decision. They still rejected it, and we had 30 days to leave the country. We spent a few months in Austria, a month in Texas, a month in California, and now we're here in Illinois. And that's been kind of where we've been since February. At the end of last year, on Thanksgiving Day, end of November, for you international folks, we submitted a new application and was like, hey, we're going through this particular church. We're applying for the correct visa that we can get, and should be more or less fine. We were working with an immigration lawyer, and they denied that visa, and that was that application, and that was what the last video was about, was that they had rejected that application. The reasons that they rejected it seemed very nitpicky to both ourselves and to the immigration lawyer, and so we appealed that decision. We sent in an appeal with extenuating with a lot of documentation. We added more letters. We got further background checks. There was all of these different things. They even asked for, one of the funny things that they asked for was, they asked for a local police clearance or a background check from like our city, which is not in any of the immigration paperwork or like the application paperwork. It just says from your country of residence, and we had an FBI background check that was provided, and we had an Austrian background check because we lived there for a bit, and we had an Irish background check. They said that wasn't enough. We had to get Illinois or, you know, Wheaton background check, and so we did that. And there were a couple other things that they required, and we sent that in. I don't remember when we submitted. Maybe somewhere in February, end of February, beginning of March. It was beginning of March. We submitted that appeal, and everything felt good. Our lawyer said, hey, there have been other people who have been in this same situation with immigration in Ireland, and we've had their visas changed or all this stuff. But then she was also saying stuff like, the reasons that they're refusing you are very nitpicky, and I've never, like, these are things that I haven't seen in your particular type of situation before with other clients. So we were kind of hopeful, kind of not really sure. And about a month ago now, about a month, maybe a little under, we got an email which contained a letter from the Irish Immigration Service that they have refused our appeal. Part of that is there was a discrepancy. One of the reasons that they said that there was a discrepancy between some paperwork that we gave and a church that we were being sponsored by. You know, they said one of the questions was, what is the, you know, average size, or like, you know, roughly the size of your congregation. I think it was probably not roughly. It was like, what's the size of your congregation? And we wrote 110 when we submitted the application, and then when the appeal was written, we had some extra documentation created by the church, and they said 130, because obviously church sizes and congregation sizes change over time. And so there was a difference of the number 20 between those two numbers, and they said, because you wrote 110 and they wrote 130, we're basically going to throw out this appeal. And then one of the other reasons was we had provided all sorts of documentation and proof and letters and confirmation that we have over 10 years of experience doing what we're doing. And there was one certificate that we provided that did not fit within some time frame that they said needed to be provided, which is not, again, wasn't in any immigration application paperwork or details or anything like that. So they refused our application. Our immigration lawyer was furious, basically saying they're just finding things to nitpick. And what I have interpreted that as, it just seems like they didn't want us there. And I'm speaking very objectively right now, by the way, because we've had weeks to kind of process this and sort things out. But it was a huge blow. Obviously, all of our friends are there. Our community is there. Our work was there in Europe. All of our stuff is there in storage. We had an opportunity to bring this appeal to the courts and submit what's called a judicial review. And we could hire a barrister and get somebody to fight on our behalf. And it's a very uncertain thing, though. It could take anywhere from 6 to 12 months. And if we lost the case, we could owe somewhere between 10 and 15,000 euro. So it was a risk. It's a risk. And so we thought and we prayed and we considered, and we decided that doing the courts type stuff just wasn't worth it. A lot of uncertainty still for our family, that it would be uncertain and all of that, and we needed to move forward in some kind of a way, because we've been waiting for, at this point, multiple years to try and do this whole thing. And the decision wasn't light either. Like, we've been talking about this and the possibility of being refused for over a year and a half, and so we're, as far as it stands right now, we're not moving back to Ireland. I know a lot of people have asked me, how do I move to Ireland? I want to retire there, or I want to go work there, or I just want to move there. And it's all I can do not to respond and just say it's just really, really hard. It's really difficult to immigrate to any country, really. Like, it's certainly given me a new perspective on immigration. People are just like, why can't people just do things legally? And it's like, well, because immigration systems take a lot of time, and it takes a lot of work, and there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of background stuff and all of this stuff that you have to do. I know people who have tried to immigrate to the States legally, and it's taken over 2 years because it's just systems and bureaucracy, and there's just madness. There's just a lot of craziness that happens, and it's just not simple. And anyway, so that's Ireland. We're gonna have to get our stuff at some point. But what's next is, we still feel like we're supposed to be in Europe. That's where, we work with third culture kids over there, and the organization that my wife works for and that I volunteer with. We still feel like that we're supposed to be doing that. And so part of our, the last year and a half has been figuring out, okay, well, what if not Ireland? What do we do? And that's all kind of culminated in, well, still Europe, not Ireland, but Vienna. So my wife grew up in Vienna. Her parents are still there. Vienna, Austria, by the way. And we're pursuing that. Obviously, with the pandemic happening right now, a lot of borders are closed. Visas are not being extended or given out, or applications aren't even being accepted. But we're starting to move in that direction. And for the time being, we're just here in Wheaton. We're working. I just moved into this back little office down in the basement, so there's stuff everywhere. Hobby stuff, building a PC, which is kind of fun. Living life. Ryland's going to be starting virtual academy soon. Working, just doing all this stuff. Trying to move forward with life. again, I seem really, you know, fairly objective and not emotional about it, but that's because I've had, you know, several weeks we've cried a lot, and there's still a lot of things to grieve. We don't know that Ireland is fully off the table. I mean, theoretically, we can still submit another application if we wanted to, but it just kind of felt like the Irish government didn't want us to live there. And so it hurts. It hurts a lot, if I'm being real. You know, like, we really had started to feel like Ireland was home. Probably the most home I've felt anywhere in my life. And I just can't live there anymore for the time being. So, other than that, there's the update. Weird time. So I appreciate everyone who's reached out. Thank you for reaching out if you have, asking how things are going. Ryan keeps yelling at me to make more vlogs. Literally all we're doing is hanging out at the house. But, you know, she's learned to ride a bike. Rylan taught herself to ride a bike. Melody's doing great. Christiana's doing alright. We're both struggling through all the things, but as a family we're doing okay. Anyways, I know that this is getting really, really long, so I don't want to drag this out too much, but I just wanted to give some sort of an update because it felt like, you know, people were hanging on that. Yeah. It is really sad. We wish that things could have been different. We wish that, you know, whoever was handling our paperwork would have been like, oh yeah, totally, this makes sense. 110, 130, that, you know, there's not much difference there. People fluctuate and congregations change, and oh, it does look like you have all of this experience, but anyway, there's plenty of what ifs and why didn'ts and all of that stuff. I hope this is not a detriment to anybody who is wanting to move or wanting to move internationally. I hope this doesn't like quench your hope, but it's hard for me to recommend moving or say that it's anything other than extremely difficult to move internationally. And it's tough. It's taken a toll on our family for sure. But that's the update. I wish I had something better to say. I hope you're well. How are you doing? How's pandemic life? Would love to hear from you down in the comments down there. Maybe I'll do a few more videos like this and update and have you say hi to the girls and have the girls say hi or whatever, and now I'm just babbling. So there's the update. Can't move back to Ireland. Moving forward with trying to see if we can move to Vienna. And we'll kind of see what happens with that. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time.
I know another word for vlog. Log, fog, dog, and vlog, but there are too many words, so I thought it was log, and then I said vlog, so I was kind of mixed up with the word because they were all rhymes.
Cool. Can I get back to my monologue?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.